My name's Amber. I'm part of your Fish 310 class. My species report is on the giant Pacific octopus. As the puppet like this is shown, this is actually a full-size version of what one would be at an adult. And then we also have Triton over here from the Seattle Aquarium. Okay, so first I'm going to go and talk about the species distribution. Giant Pacific octopus can be found on the coast around the North Pacific, and this includes from Alaska to Southern California, west of the Aleutian Islands in Japan, and they're usually found in areas called dens, and these are usually caverns or rocky areas within the tidal pools that they use to hold themselves up. It's kind of like their home, basically. And so the way to find dens is to find a pile of bivalve shells or crustacean shells, or exoskeletons, my mistake, and that is called the midden or the octopus garden. And so, along that note, the giant Pacific octopus, its diet consists of bivalves such as the clams or mussels, or crustaceans such as the crabs. And so what they do to break open and eat these animals is they use a giant Pacific octopus beak, which is made of keratin, like a human nails and hair.
Yeah, there you go.
And they also have a radula, which is basically like a string that has various spikes on it that they can use to scrape, kind of like a cat's tongue. And so they use the radula to actually drill holes into the bivalve shell, and then they can inject toxic saliva into there and then slurp up the nice good stuff. They can also use the beak to crush open the shell or the exoskeleton to get at the crab or other crustaceans. They can also use their 8 arms to pry apart shells or exoskeletons as well. Now, another part of this is the reproduction cycle, and also the life cycle of the giant Pacific octopus. So the way to tell the difference between the male and the female giant Pacific octopus is that if you look at the 3rd arm to the right, if it has suckers on it, then it's considered a female, but if it doesn't, and it has kind of like a groove along the edge, along the inside, that is considered the ligula, also known as the heterocotyledonous arm, and that is on the male. And so what the male will do during mating is he will use the heterocotyledonous arm to transfer spermatophores, which are basically sperm packets, into the female's mantle cavity to be transferred to her oviduct, where she will then fertilize them. And so for a female, once they are fertilized, she will lay giant Pacific octopus eggs along her den area, and they're connected by these tiny little threads, which she uses to thread up on the walls or the ceiling of her den. So after mating, the male will actually, and the female, will both go through something called senescence. And so what will happen is after 3 months, the male will die, and so will the female. This is considered terminal reproduction, which is where after mating they will die. And so during those 3 months, the male will actually start forming lesions on his body which can't heal. He'll stop eating, and then he'll also go out into the open water, which is where he will most likely be able to be caught by other predators such as seals, sea otters, and then sharks and humans. And so the female, once she's in her den, she will lay the eggs on the ceiling, and then she will oxygenate them with her arms, and she will also stop feeding. She will survive for around 6 months or however long her babies will be until they hatch, or eggs. So along that note, the life cycle of a giant Pacific octopus is from around 4 to 5 years. So once they hatch, they actually are in the planktotrophic, and they will stay for about 3 months as planktotrophic cycle, and then after that they will settle down to the benthos, and then they will rapidly grow around 1% of body weight every day, which is about 1 pound each day, until they are old enough to mate, and then they will die once they mate. So, on the note of what will actually eat the giant Pacific octopus, this is really economically important. As you know, calamari is a favorite dish of a lot of people, so humans will actually hunt down giant Pacific octopus to eat them. And so the Fish and Game and Wildlife Services actually regulate and legalize the hunting of giant Pacific octopus, except for in certain areas which are called sanctuaries. And some quick facts include that they have camouflage, which are done by chromatophores, which are little pigmented cells which contract and expand to show different colors of the giant Pacific octopus, though normally their color is a deep dark red. And then the other thing is that they have 3 hearts and their blood is made of copper. Well, anyways, my time's up, so...